Hello and welcome back to a weekly outlook. Today is the 22nd of February. Today is Sunday, and as always we start our weekly outlook, our planning of the week, on the economic calendar. So that brings me to Forex Factory, where we have a look at what kind of news factors we've got for the week and generally whether we think it's going to be a more or less volatile week. So as you can see, not a lot of red folder news straight off the bat. We have President Trump speaking on Wednesday. We have unemployment as usual on Thursday. And then we've got PPI, which is a decent driver, on Friday. But with that in consideration, we have got a lot of world news regarding Trump's tariffs around the world as well, so we have to be careful of unexpected volatility that we might not say forecast that's on the economic calendar, but will definitely have an impact on the market. So, coming on to the charts, let's have a look at DXY. Where we are, let's have a look at the monthly. Okay, so currently the monthly is a bit indecisive. We don't know if we're going higher, we don't know if we're going lower. Obviously, coming off the bat of 3 previous months of fairly bearish price action, we were in a bit of a bearish trend, and that follows on the weekly. We made obviously a lower low, a lower high, and then obviously after sweeping that liquidity that we discussed in the last weekly outlook, we've since traded a bit higher. Now, what we have here is something I quite like. We tried to play the manipulation model last week, and it was just purely based off of a daily array getting tapped here. We then had a sweep on this candle here, and we wanted continuation lower. Now what this signifies is, and I hold quite a lot of data regarding this, is when we have a POI, we have a tap into the POI, we then have a fake out of inviting early sellers, in this instance for price to continue lower. We then get a sweep, which is what this is here, a good candle close, and then we trade lower. Obviously, as you can see from the candle anatomy, that we actually didn't get exactly that, but this leads me back to the weekly, where we've had a tap into the weekly FVG. We had a strong weekly displacement out to trap early sellers. People put stop losses here. Last week we've come back up and we've decided to take the high, and then we've closed below. So from my understanding, right off the bat, I am still leaning towards DXY being bearish, but I am not ruling out the fact that we could well be bullish. From the daily point of view, you've got a conflicting bias. On the weekly, we have probably weekly bearish price action, and on the daily we have internally bullish price action, because from this low here we've traded higher, higher low, higher high. This has traded above this high, so that counts as a higher high. Yes, we had no close, and that is what brings me on to my next point, to understand that if I want DXY bullish, we need to see some form of low of the week being created. And does that look like a trade into the daily, hold, and then start to trade higher? And if that's the case, then that's the case. I'm not worried, I will happily get in line. But from the weekly perspective, and obviously following on this daily sweep, because if we zoom in you can see that Thursday was this sweep initially, and then Friday actually took the high by minimal. I've really got to zoom in for you to see this, but it did take the high, as you can see, and then we get bearish displacement off of that. So that leads me on to leaning towards DXY being bearish, like I said, but I'm not opposed to it being bullish either. So it's kind of a quick outlook this week. I don't need to go into too much detail. There's a couple of things I want to wait for confirmation. If we start melting immediately tomorrow through this daily with strong presence on the 4 hour, I will actually in fact look to take a a bearish continuation down to the swing low and get in line. As we know, we don't trade intradays on Mondays, but we can definitely get in line on a swing position. Alternatively, like I say, if price isn't too strong tomorrow, and what I mean by that is we don't get an extreme drop off because of the economic news around the world, then we might do a little bit of chopping, a little bit of chopping, a little bit of chopping. Then for me, nothing's confirmed and I'll stay out. We might let Monday play. That might give us an idea of bias, and if not, we just reevaluate come Tuesday. But like I say, this is what the 4-hour candle looks like, and we've got bullish arrays because following on from being daily internally bullish, we're also 4-hour bullish. So yeah, I mean, it looks good in a sense of trading a weekly candle. I would be more in favour of sells, but like I say, I think just understanding Monday play out and getting in line on a low or high of the week scenario is definitely what would be ideal. So yeah, again, don't need to go into too much detail. That's what I'll be waiting for. Quite a simple plan this week, and at the same time staying liquid, and yeah, just basically having the sniper loaded up ready to take the shot when it appears, but also understanding that patience does pay in a market like such. So as always, if you do have any questions or you want to know anything further, drop a comment below. I shall be back throughout this week, as always, with daily outlooks for my understanding of what's happened throughout the days. If nothing happens, no outlook will be uploaded, but you know, if I look to maybe get in a trade or looking at certain areas of interest that I might take a trade from, then I will update. And like I say, this isn't a signal page, this isn't for people to just follow. This is just my understanding of how I read price and what I like to see in the market, and how I act according to what price does. So that's it for now. We will catch you on the next one. Have a good night. We'll see you again soon.